Okay, Ag class, here we go. As promised, this will be your video on the nutrients and balancing rations lessons. And I don't know what the deal is with the balancing rations. It's not that hard, but no one is attempting it because of, I guess, the Pearson Square, which you'll find out is totally simple. But we'll get to that in just a second. All right, nutrients. Okay, in your packet, which I have right here in front of me, printed out, put my pen back before I get too far carried away. If you skim through the packet of information, it's talking about understanding nutrients and why they're important for farm animal production. And so a nutrient is a substance that's necessary for an organism to live and grow. A ration's the total feed for a 24-hour period, and a balanced ration has the nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, all that stuff that an animal needs. Okay, one of the questions is, what are the 6 essential nutrients? They are water, carbohydrates, lipids or fats, protein, minerals, and vitamins. And if I recall, we had started something similar to this in early March before we went on coronavirus vacation. Okay, water. And they go through and break this into the 6. So what's water? Water is important for everybody. It's important for us. You notice it's been hot lately. You need to stay hydrated. A human being can only go 3 days without water before it dies. We've discussed this in class. Most of an animal's weight, 75% of a mature animal and 90% of a newborn is water. You or I, human beings, we're about 72% water, which coincidentally, the earth is about 72% water. So there you go. It's the cosmic scheme of the universe. Carbohydrates, we've discussed these. These are simple sugars. Now, there's 2 kinds, well, they say 3 kinds of carbohydrates. They're the sugars, which are the monosaccharides and the disaccharides. Monosaccharides, mono meaning one, it's the simple sugars, disaccharides, a little bit more complex. Then you've got your starches, which are converted to glucose, which is a form of sugar. And then you've got your fibers. Fibers is what's left after everything's digested. Constipated, load up on fiber. You can't digest it, you push it on through and clean yourself out. Same thing we do with the animals. If you've ever looked at a cow patty or a horse pie, horse puck, it's mostly grass and stems because the fiber helps to promote everything moving through. Okay, lipids, these are fats. Lipids are a form of fatty oil that is dissolved in the bloodstream, and it's a source of energy. It's ready energy. Now, a fat itself, like I am, if you were to take and unpeel the 100 pounds of extra fat that I carry, it would come out as this yellowish, whitish, jelly-like substance. That's the solid form of the lipid, as it says right here. And fats have more energy than lipids because they're in that solid form, about 2.5 times more. Then we talk about minerals. Of course, minerals, you know, are inorganic substances. We call inorganic stuff rocks. But minerals like your salts, calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, potassium, and sulfur, these are your macronutrients, macrominerals needed a lot. This is why you leave a salt block out for your animals so that they can go and get those. If you notice your horse is gnawing on the fence railing, if you've got wooden fence posts and railing, any animal that's gnawing on something is telling you there's a deficiency. And it's time to go get a salt block or something else for them to lick and get those nutrients from. The microminerals include everything from iron and cobalt to molybdenum. Vitamins, of course, we know that vitamins perform specific functions. There's the fat-soluble vitamins, then there's the water-soluble vitamins. Fat-soluble vitamins are the ones that are stored in our fats and released. Those include vitamins A, D, E, and K. And then the water-soluble ones are C and the B vitamins. And the B vitamins cover a whole host of different areas. All right, so now you were supposed to do the test. Okay, so here we go. Organic compounds that are made up primarily of amino acid. These are your proteins, so this will be F. A food component that provides energy and is also in a form which animals store energy. That's going to be D, your lipids. Feed components that provide energy and are composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. All right, come on. Carbon, carbo, hydrogen, come on, you got it. Carbohydrates, B. Nutrients that are required for the proper growth in all animals. Those are your essential nutrients. Where did that go? It's right here. It's C. If I can, you know what? Let me change markers here. Hang on a sec. Let me get this out of the way. Let me get my other marker here because that's the one I'm going to have to use. All right, C. An organic substance needed in small quantities to perform specific functions. These are your vitamins. Vitamins are H. A type of carbohydrate found in cereal grains such as corn, wheat, oats, barley, and sorghum. These are going to be your G, simple carbs. Okay, because you know, those of us that eat cereal in the morning, we're eating it for the carbs. That's what we're getting out of it, simple carbs. A substance necessary for an organism to live and grow is a nutrient, that is E. Material left after the food's been digested is the fiber. We just discussed that. That's I. Contains all the nutrients that an animal needs in the correct proportions. It is a balanced ration, A, and can also be called fiber. These are your complex carbohydrates, J. Okay, part 2. Minerals are essential in the growth of skeletons. Starch is converted to glucose. Carbohydrates should make up about 75% of the animal's diet. Okay, so skeleton, glucose, 75. Something that's found in every cell in the body is H2O, what we call water, and then can contain 2.25 times more energy than carbs. Those are your lipids. All right, so there you go. Now, provide the information to answer the following question. What are the 6 essential nutrients? These are water, number 1. Carbohydrates, carbs, number 2. Lipids or fats are number 3. Proteins, number 4. Minerals are number 5. And vitamins are number 6. All right, there it is. I've done it for you. Copy it. Get it back to me. There's animal nutrition. That's all you got to do. And so now we move on to the balancing of the rations. Now this one seemed to provide a little bit more difficulty for people. I've had one person, actually I've had 2 people ask about it. Peyton asked about it and Adrian asked about it. So I've had 2, but it's been crickets chirping with everybody else in class. And so I'm going to go ahead and do this for you now. I've got 2 videos up on animal reproduction. I cannot make it any simpler than that. That's basically what my other classes are doing, a video and about 3 or 4 questions. And I will do that again this week with your final installment. And then I will have a final exam, I'm hoping by the end of the week, first of next week. Your finals week is the 18th through the 21st. If you get everything else done, you are welcome to ask me for the final, and I will give you the final early, and you will be done. And then I'll see you in the fall, I hope. Okay, balancing rations. So we talked about nutrition. How do we get all of this into the animal? We will give it to them in what we call a ration as part of their diet. Okay, so the ration. Ration's the total amount of food that the animal consumes in a 24-hour period. The diet is what kind of food do we serve to this animal over time. What kind of a diet do you eat? Okay, there's a breakfast diet, a lunch diet, a dinner diet. Okay, it's what you eat over a longer period of time. We find out what our nutrients are required by what we call the feeding standards. This is based on research over time. A lot of it's been observation of what animals naturally need to keep themselves healthy, and then what have we been able to add to the foodstuffs to get them a little more healthy over time. Feed stuff is an ingredient used in food. Nutrient contents, we can find these by consulting the composition table. These are the feed tags that come with animal feed, or if you feed dog and cat food, look inside the side. Usually it's on the side flap. I know in my cat food bag it is. You can see what the nutrition value is. And then these are the steps to figuring out how to do a ration. All right. The feed analysis tells us what's in it. Now, the dry matter. Dry matter is after we drive out the moisture. We don't want it to be mostly water. We want our animal to drink its water and then get its nutrients from its food source. Crude protein. Crude protein is based on the nitrogen content that's in the feed. And this is a chemistry problem where they figure out the nitrogen, they heat it up, boil off the nitrogen, capture it, and then they multiply it times 6.25 in order to get a number that's high enough for people to understand. Fat content, ash. Ash is what's left after we burn it up. They do that, and why do we burn up foodstuffs? A lot of times we'll burn something up because we want to know what's left. What's left that the animal cannot use. That's not necessarily fiber, but it's what's the total amount of food that the animal just simply will not be able to use, period, and what's left over. Crude fiber is determined by boiling the food in an acid and then finding out what's left. Nitrogen-free extract. This has to do with finding out how much of the food is not protein. And then minerals based on an analysis. All right, so we went through all of this. And I put up a video on how to use the Pearson Square method. So now let's get to the test part, because I know that's what you're wanting to see, is the testing part. Okay. Simple way of calculating a ration. This is the Pearson Square, which I will demonstrate for you here in just a second. Let me get this all out of the way before I bleed through on everything here like I'm already doing. The weight of the feed after the moisture's been driven out is the dry matter, E. Residue that remains after it's been burned, well, duh, that's ash, A. The type and amount of feed an animal receives in its ration. This is called, I put down that this was the feeding standard. Okay, how much are they supposed to get and when? It's a standard. Nutrient needs requirements of an animal. Number 5, this is your diet, which is D. An ingredient used in making feed for animals is a feed stuff. That's what goes into it. The process of determining the nutrients in a feed stuff is the feed analysis. The nitrogen content is the crude protein. The amount of heat needed to raise the water temperature of 1 gram of water, 1 degree C, is called a calorie. That's what we do. And as you probably read in the material, when you look at the side of a Coke can and you see it's got 140 calories in it, those are actually kilocalories or thousands of calories. Most human beings, we require about 2,000 calories per day, or approximately, if you want to figure it this way, about 100 calories per hour. The average human being burns about 100 calories per hour just at rest doing nothing. So, That's around 2,200 calories for the whole day, or 2,400 calories for 24 hours. So you, of course, burn a little less when you're sleeping. You burn a little more when you're awake, so it averages out. And then number 10, the total amount of feed an animal consumes in a 24-hour period is its ration, I. So there you have it. Okay, part 2, diet should be based on the needs of an animal being fed and the feed or the nutrient content of the feed available. So this is nutrient content. Bulky rations aid in digestion because of the fiber in them. Blank is stated as total digestible nutrients. This is energy. What can the animal get out of all of the food that it eats? The blank must be appropriate and practical. That is the feed stuff. Has to be something that you have that you can lay your hands on and that the animal will eat, which we'll discuss here in a minute. And the availability of a feed stuff is determined by your location. Here in Eunice, America, we have access to quite a bit of really good stuff. As a matter of fact, the Pearson Square question that's getting ready to be asked, both of these ingredients are available locally. As a matter of fact, right across the highway from where I live is South Plains Gin, I believe it is. And they have warehouses filled with cottonseed right now, ready to be sold off for cottonseed meal, cottonseed oil, all kinds of stuff that come out of it. All right, so now here's the part. I'm going to go back over this. So HEAFDGJCBI, nutrient content, fiber, energy, feed stuff, location. Okay, go ahead and pause that. Whoops. Pause that. I'll count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Pause that. I'll count to 2. 1, 2. All right, so now let's look at this Pearson Square. Okey-doke. Now, what did I do? Oh, here.
Are you done?
Not yet.
Are you started?
Say hello, Ms. Cole.
Hello.
Okay. All right.
Oh, you're doing it on there.
Okay. Pearson Square. All right, for this Pearson Square, we set up our square. In the middle is what is the protein level that we want to have for our food. And your problem says develop a 2,000-pound batch of balanced ration for a pregnant sow, that's a pig, with a crude protein level of 12%. And you're going to use 2 ingredients, and this Pearson Square is for 2 ingredients that you have on hand. You want to mix them together. Usually one's low in protein, one's high in protein. In this case, we're going to be using corn, and we're going to be using cottonseed. Okay, and the corn, and there's what flaked corn looks like. Doesn't that just look yummy?
Yeah.
Look at that. Looks yummy. It's cornflakes. Yummy. Okay. Yeah, don't listen to her. All right. This is flaked corn. A lot of feedlots will flake the corn out. The more surface area there is, the more the animal has a chance to get the nutrients out of it. So, flaked corn. So that's this one. Flaked corn has a protein content, in this case, of about 8.9%. Then, as I said earlier, cotton seeds. You've all seen these. These are the things that come out of the cotton ball after it's been harvested. This is what Eli Whitney invented, the cotton gin, in order to get those out of those little boogers, because before they were picked out by hand. And then we grind up that cottonseed and we get a cottonseed meal. It's just this brown mulch that's left. And usually this is a byproduct of squeezing the cottonseed for the cottonseed oil, which is used in a lot of different things. And cottonseed meal has a protein content, in this case, of 41.2%. Oops, sorry, 41.2%. Pearson Square, really simple. If you don't get anything else, this is it. What we're trying to determine is how many parts, pounds, ounces, tons, bags, pickup loads, whatever you want to call it, what are we going to have to mix together to get to this level? Real simple. 41.2 minus 12. 41.2 minus 12 gives us 29.2. 12 minus 8.9. It's the bigger one minus, but we're always working diagonally. Okay, 12 minus 8.9 equals 3.1. Now, if you wanted to round, I would allow you to round. Not a big deal. I'm going to do it using the numbers that are here. But this is just how simple this is. Because this is a lower protein content, we're going to use 29.2 parts, handfuls, cups, whatever. And we're going to mix those 29.2 parts with 3 parts of cottonseed meal because it's higher in protein. And between that mixing of the 29 parts and the 3 parts, we should end up with a protein level of about 12%. Okay? So if you've got this part, this is step 1. Now it says we're going to be doing a 2,000 pound batch. Okay. So we're going to be making 2,000 pounds, which is the same as 1 ton. Well, how do we get there? How do we know how much to put together? Well, let's find out. Let's take all of our parts, 29.2 and 3.1, and let's add them up. That's 3. 9 plus 3 is 12. Carry the 1, that's 32.3 total parts. Okay, so we're going to take 29.2 and divide it by 32.3. We're going to take 3.1 and divide it by 32.3 in order to get a percentage. Okay? You've done this in math class. This is a real-world application. So, take my handy-dandy calculator, and I'm going to take 29.2 divided by 32.3 equals 0.904, or this is 90%. Okay. 3.1 divided by 32.3 equals 0.0959. 0.0959. We round that up to 10%, and these two together are 100% of our ration. 100% of the 32.3 total parts that we're going to put together. So, which means, how much do you have to go buy of each one to get 2,000 pounds? We're going to take 2,000 times 0.9, or 90%, and 2,000 times 0.1, or 10%, and we're going to find out. 2,000 times 0.9 is 1,800 pounds. So we're going to buy 1,800 pounds of corn, and we're going to mix it with, wait for it, 2,000 times 0.1 is 200 pounds cottonseed meal. And together, that 1,800 plus 200 will give us 2,000 pounds of this ration. Okay? So there you go. That is how you work the Pearson Square method. It takes a little getting used to because the square is what throws most people off. Well, this is bigger than this. Do I get a negative number? No, it's whatever the biggest number is minus working this way. 41 minus 12 equals 29. 12 minus 8 equals 3. In this case, it's 8.9. It's always working in the diagonal to get these two numbers. Once you get these two numbers, you just perform a simple mathematical operation to find out what the percentages are of each one, times whatever the amount is that your ration is supposed to be, and then we get it. So now, I have given you the answers to 2 of the assignments that I have up there on Google Classroom. I've got 3 videos going up with 3 questions. You did the cow and the pig and did that as a drawing. All you had to do was turn in those drawings, which are available, and that was it. Now, for your final, there will be questions off of every assignment, plus I will have at least 2 questions from one of the other videos that I have posted for your general interest to look at that are related to the lessons. There will be no more than about 15 questions and maybe 20 responses total on your final. It will be totally open note, open everything that you've used. There's no and the final I will grade. It will not be a simple pass or fail. It will be graded on a 100% scale. But these, there's no reason for anybody not to get 100 on these. So, get these turned in. Those of you that I'm missing, that I haven't seen anything from, get them turned in, email it to me, put it on paper, drop it off in the drop box in front of the school, do whatever it is you need to do to get it turned in, but get them to me so that I can get the grades caught up in Skyward. Because I'm out the door on Friday, May the 22nd, and we're done. The only people that are going to get a chance to make up anything are the seniors they have through June the 19th, and unless you call and have a really good excuse for why you haven't gotten anything turned in. All right. Have a great week. It's May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the fall.